So we're going to examine contextually if there's any connection between what's happening in motion pictures, in the entertainment industry, and biblically. Is there any correlation? Is there anything that's bringing these two worlds together? The two universities I went to were filled with credits that related to the arts industry as well. So for the one I was doing psychology and history, the other one I was doing law, legal studies, contracts, torts, and a whole range of subject matter from maritime law through to legal systems, both the chancery system, the equitable system, and conciliation, mediation, formal dispute resolution, or what they call primary dispute resolution. So I was doing that, but built into my units or built into my courses were arts. They were arts majors. One of them, which was considered an arts major, was history, and I landed up doing English as well as an arts major, as they called it. What I was intrigued by was that most of what I was learning, what I was discovering, was that I'm just going to come right out and say it. I think that's probably the easiest way. Otherwise, it's just going to take a lot of meandering explanation. So here we go. Demons are completely in control over the arts. Completely. I mean, it's not even like guesswork. Demons are so in control of what gets pushed into the world. This idea of artistic expression is very interesting. Paul Redfield, great book to read. There's a whole range of amazing books. Dr. Faustus is a very good example by Marlowe. And in this book, we get the idea that the world of art, is completely controlled by demonic influences, going back all the way to ancient Hebrewic art, if we want to call it that. Very primitive. But you look at the Egyptians, that sort of began to fashion some form of an artistic understanding of what was going on in prehistory or early history, where we see art really take off for the first time following the exploits of Sumeria, or by the kings, by the emperors, is the Greek and the Roman empires, in that order. And we see how these gods of the art, of the world of art, are completely and totally in control over what gets produced in the artistic world. I never believed that. I always used to think, if we get an idea and we're going to go and produce something artistically, it's coming from us. We're not being influenced. The truth is, could be nothing further from that truth. The truth is that demonic energies are influencing entertainment. What do I mean when I say a demonic influence? I'm talking about a demonic influence would be, demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, or the resultant byproduct of the fallen angels and the daughters of men, which we read about in Genesis 6. We get the idea that they sought dominion upon the earth. Psalm 82, we see how God presides over a declathon of a pantheon, really, of gods, minor gods. And these minor gods were originally dispensations. They were angels. And these angels, or these high-end angels or archangels, were very powerful, and their job and their objective originally was to help govern the earth, help God. Not that God needs help, but God had a structure by which the world would be governed, right? In his perfect plan. Things would go perfectly, things would go nicely, and these originally beautiful angels were going to be very involved in the government of mankind upon the earth. However, they turned against God and fell and rebelled against the Almighty and decided to take for themselves the daughters of men. They saw that they were fair, we see in Genesis, and they bore unto them great giants, giant beings. Now these giants were taken down, they were slain, as we read about their destruction. They were literally brought to the ground, formed mountains. They became mountains and mountainsides. Please read, discover. The more you research this, the more you'll see it's the truth. There are so many great channels that pinpoint this truth, and they go scripturally. You can go right through it scripturally. You'll see it all form and fashion scripturally. What we have here, though, are the disembodied spirits of these fallen angels, these fallen giants, the Nephilim. And what they did was they set about turning and changing and influencing the arts of the world, because through art you can influence hearts. I used to think, film was film, movies are movies, filmmakers are filmmakers, come on, storytellers are storytellers. But now that I know about muses, and I know about cherubim and seraphim and thrones, and I know about a plethora of how the angelic host work and how this demonic horde work, I now understand that they have a complete and total influence over humanity. There are great books about this that you can read, and one of them is Screw Tape Letters, which is by C.S. Lewis, and the other one, which I think is probably even better, not as classic, but definitely a better book, is the book by Randy Alcorn, which is called Falgren's Letters. I think it's called Falgren's Letters. An amazing, amazing book. You cannot put this book down. It is like that good. He is one of the greatest writers of our time, Randy Alcorn. And he explains very clearly what the job of these demons, these fallen angels are, what the job of these Luciferian, doctrinally adhering evil minions are, right? We think that the thoughts we get are our own thoughts, but we don't realize that thoughts feed on thoughts. What we see in films eventually feeds our thinking. What started off in films turned out to be, because remember, I'm sorry to say this, but the enemy is not going to be pushing money your way if you're not playing by his agenda. Now, you're free to operate and produce content according to his agenda. You're welcome. Go ahead. No problem. Right? However, it's your soul that's in the balance. Your soul is in the balance. We could all go about and produce stuff. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a creator. I develop content, produce lots and lots of different things. But I'm very aware. I'm very, very aware of the health of my soul, right? There's certain things I will not do. Many times, especially having lived in Australia, many times I've proposed projects to government agencies, and to broadcasters, and even majors. I've pitched projects to Screen Vision, to Village Roadshow, Seth McKenna, major names. I could go name after name. I've pitched projects to Warner Brothers, Warner Studios. I've pitched projects to Fox Studios. Brian Morris under his general managementship. it's like one project after another. And I can tell you, now and again, we get the option of producing something that they give to us. They say, we want this developed, this produced. And I look at these stories or these scripts, and they're so evil. They're so dark, and they're so filled with things that I just physically cannot and will not do, that I can't do them. I'm sorry, but my soul is too valuable. I don't want to sit with that stuff on my soul. I just don't want to, right? I will have the opportunity that I seek to create and develop and produce and entertain the world under God's banner, under Christ's banner. And yes, I understand that a lot of what's produced in the Christian world is not particularly good. I get that. Although, having said that, there's some extraordinarily good stuff being produced right now under the Netflix banner. Pureflix. There's a huge amount of really good content coming out of Pureflix and Netflix, and it's got a godly moral stance, which I am thankful for. Not enough though. There's not enough good stuff out there. I'm sorry to shake and rattle your world here, but demons are playing a huge part in what gets done, what gets produced, what gets influenced, what gets funded, and what doesn't. If you're pro-agenda, the incarceration, the enslavement of humanity, you're going to get funding. If you are pro-God, pro-Jesus, pro-salvation, you're not going to get any of that. And what these amazing channels are doing, channels like light emitting or light exposing darkness are doing, if you watched the whole thing, is you would see not 2 or 3 or 5 guesses that maybe there are, that maybe, just maybe there are some connections. No, you're seeing an hour or 2 of, connection after connection after connection after connection of what seems to be disguised entertainment, that seems to just be escapism. And what it's doing is it is encoding, it is programming people on a subconscious level to accept the dark side, accept sympathy for the devil, and attack the divinity of Christ. Like this has been happening throughout history. I keep saying this, how a counterfeit religion or how a counterfeit thought is that which attacks the divinity of Jesus Christ. You don't have to believe that. You don't have to go with it. But that's what it is. That is the truth. So, that's what it is. I'm sorry to be the person who has to say this, has to be so forthright about it. Could I have not been more subtle? I could have. But I think we're living in such an end time that if we don't actually see the value of the kingdom, our sovereignty to God, who has all the glory and the authority and the sovereign power, and we don't understand that, then I would be misguiding you. I would not be helping you to where you need to get. We are sadly out of time. And more so than at any other time, what we have, we must devote to the kingdom. If we're not doing that, we're wasting opportunities. Do you want to enter heaven saved, or do you want to enter heaven saved and inheriting the kingdom, right? And you have to decide with what God is giving you, your health, your good looks, your ability to do whatever you're doing, and you're not bearing fruit for the kingdom, then I'm not sure what your state of salvation really is. You've got to check that, and this is going to be trampling on toes for sure. But ask yourself this question: what have you really done? Since you have become saved, what have you truly done that you can say, these are my fruits? I have done this for the kingdom. Your rewards are not here on earth. They are in heaven. It's not for your glory that we do what we do. It's for God's glory. It's for Christ's glory. He is the King. Think of it like the ruler of the universe, the King of all things, the King of everything. What are you bestowing upon this King? What are you giving back to this King that says,
To you be the glory. That's it. I'm out.